Welcome back to another video in the Theory of Constraint series. In this one, I want to go a little bit deeper into this thinking methodology that we use to unstuck ourselves when we're finding ourselves in a whole web of cause and effect situations where we don't really know where to go about it because one issue is causing the other issues and we feel completely stuck and overwhelmed. And this concept comes from Eliyahu Goldratt. I mean, he's the creator of the Theory of Constraint. And if you read some books about it, I recommend you to start with the goal. That's where the whole initial concept is set up. It's presented as a novel based on a factory. But again, the ideas from about the bottleneck and so on, I've shown you in the other videos, that is applicable to most other situations. And in this other book, It's Not Luck, that's where he's introducing the concept of the logic trees that we're using as the framework to unstuck ourselves. And then this book, the logical thinking process, is a thicker working book where you really dig into the understanding how you can actually implement it. Because also It's Not Luck is also in the form of a novel. So it's sort of inspires you or motivates you to try to apply it. But if you really want to do it, I think hopefully I do a good enough job with these videos, but otherwise a book like this is your friend. Let's get started with the overview. So they're introducing 6 logic trees. The first one, called the intermediate objective map, is used to understand the goal you want to try to achieve. What is the destination you want to reach? And if that's not clear, then you use this logic tree to sort of highlight that clarity. And I know in our experience, it actually led to some clarity that was needed, not just for myself, but also within the entire team. So I'll show you that as well. The main one I want to work on today is the current reality tree. Here, you're basically figuring out all the things that are going wrong and what are the causes that are connected to it. Because there you start laying out the foundation you need in order to understand where's the biggest lever, where can you do least amount of work to get the maximum effect. That's the current reality tree. But once you have that, you want to start working on the evaporating cloud. This is they're calling it conflict resolution diagram, which is the idea of conflict resolution is you'll notice, you'll find yourself a lot in situations where you have 2 different things that are in opposition to each other that makes you feel stuck. You can't resolve one thing because of the other one. In the example I'm going to show you here is, for example, you have too little revenue for the amount of work you have. So you don't have enough people to deal with the problem, and you don't have enough revenue to get more people. Yeah, that's a conflict. And you would use the logic thinking that is introduced with the evaporating cloud in order to solve those situations. Then you build the future reality tree. Here, you're basically setting up in advance what your new cause and effect situation would look like, because it will allow you to discover in advance how certain paths towards the future you're looking for can actually cause other problems that you don't want to have. So it allows you to actually foresee a little bit which paths are more effective based on the new situation you'll face yourself. Then you'll build a prerequisite tree. So again, each of these have their own methodologies and processes and their own logic trees, but this one is about understanding the what in terms of the sequences of things you wanna work on. So it basically gives you that high-level roadmap. Start here, then do this. So as an example of building a house, before you build the walls, lay the foundation. So that's basically what you do with the prerequisite tree. The transition tree gives you the how. It actually gives you the step-by-step process of getting to the future reality that you're trying to build. It's sort of like, if we go back to the foundation example, it tells you how to build a foundation. What are the steps you have to go in which process to create that foundation. And with every step, it gives you the logical thinking behind it, so that also when you communicate with others, it actually comes across as very straightforward and easy to understand, and everybody's on board sort of situation. So again, in today's video, I'm going to talk about mainly the current reality tree. I'm going to touch on the intermediate objective map, but these ones we will have to save for later, or will be here for a very long time. This is the whole goal and intermediate objective map. I want to actually start with the current reality tree, because that's the main promise of why hopefully you what I made for you to come here. And the starting point is actually quite enjoyable, if you want to say so, because it starts with something most people are happy to contribute with. If you have a, for example, team you want to work with, which is starting with collecting what they call an undesirable effect, meaning the bad stuff, the shitty stuff, the things that are going wrong, the frustrating feelings, and all of these things. So you collect this, either you have them, or your team have them, or your customers have them. So you just collect all of these, make a list out of them, and then you start working from there. What you do, you set these ones up on the top, and you start working yourself down in your cause and effect relationship chain, basically. And in that process, you see how things are intertwined with each other. And then finally, you invite the people who share those UDs, the undesirable effects, to see if your logic tree actually holds up. If they agree that this is exactly this is a cause that does affect that one. And often what happens is it might trigger new realizations that they share with you, or some things you might have not gotten right in their opinion, and you want to embed that idea into there as well. But as a whole, over time, what's going to happen is you're going to have simply a more accurate roadmap towards or more accurate representation of the mess you are in. When we did this for Swing Step, this was now many years ago. This is not even the whole thing, but it can get really, really messy and complex. It's a big web of different cause and effects. Some are feeding back on each other, some are overwhelming. And this is what I mean with, like, anybody can understand one-step cause and effect, maybe two-step cause and effects they can understand. But this is something where you need to draw up the whole thing in order to figure out a whole series of complex chains of cause and effects, in order to figuring out the root cause issues that you're having. Suddenly the easiness of it disappears, and that's again why we feel so frustrated and having this feeling of being overwhelmed. So what I want to share with you here is a simplified version of what I just showed you, where I'm going to take just one branch, one undesirable effect, and work it down in a simplistic way. This can be much more complex, as I showed you, but I think this illustrates the process a lot. So one of my team members were saying, we're feeling overwhelmed by too much work. And then we realized that the cause of it is workload is overwhelming, so too many different tasks. And people couldn't take holidays to recover, because there was always something they had to pay attention to. And for example, if we go down these series, so here we come for a specific connector. I will go through the different connectors that comes with this model, but this connector is a magnitudinal connector, which says that any one of these can contribute to workload being overwhelming. Remove one and you'll still have some amount of this. Remove all of them, then you should be able to get rid of that. So for example, one of those things were we have high degree of ongoing work. So at the Swing Steps case, we had ongoing classes in our dance school in Berlin and Heidelberg. We had all the administration that goes with it. I was traveling and teaching internationally almost every weekend. we had a lot of workshops running and stuff like that. So there are a lot of work in our situation. Let me work this one down a little bit. So one of the things we realize is work is not automated enough to match the amount of different projects we are doing. And when work is not automated, well, one of the things you do is you create projects that solves that automation. But what we discovered is that often the same persons are involved in multiple areas. So what happens is that this multitasking process reduced our efficiency, and we ended up with having too many ongoing development projects at the same time. So one hasn't been solved, and we realized we happen to introduce more, and so we had this multiple things happening. So now we have both the ongoing work that is too much, and we have half finished development projects that are there. But then there's also the other thing we realized, that event tasks happens no matter of other workload. And one of the reasons for that is that events are deadline driven, and they are happening, you plan it in advance, and it's not easy to sync it with the other stuff. So your event has a wave of tasks happening, and your ongoing activities have their own waves of tasks happening. So being able to match these so they are so not everything happens on the same time is really tricky. In fact, one of the things I've shared with the community, and this is available for you too, I'll put the link in the description below. No registration or sign up is needed. Just click on this link and you'll come here. Already we've had 711 people who came here, and many of them come multiple times. And basically this is basically how we broke down our event creation project roadmap. So we know what are the tasks that are happening way in advance, and then what are the tasks that are coming as we get closer and closer to the event. This way we have a better understanding for what workload to anticipate when. Upon a request from somebody, I also made this spreadsheet version. So if you click on that, you get to a document like this that you can just make a copy of and use it as your event project management tool. One thing I can just add while you're here, if you ever feel stuck with anything around these things, I am more than happy to help out with you. It's for free. You just go to this link or double click here, go to that link, and you can schedule a meeting. It's super easy. There's no cost associated to it. The great situation is that if I get to learn about your unique situation, I can use that knowledge to build a better software that we're building for dance events and dance schools and communities. So it helps us do a better job with that. So it becomes a nice win-win-win. So make sure you take advantage of that. Back to this. So now we're realizing events are planned in advance and doesn't easily sync with other projects. So when we're coming to this point, now we have the tasks for the events, we have the ongoing development work, and we have high degree of just regular ongoing work, creating this overwhelming feeling. We realize that the same people are involved into that. And then from there, well, it's hard with all the task switching, which means that we have too many things to worry about at the same time. When we have that feeling of worry, we can't really feel like we can take a holiday, which come to this feeling of being overwhelmed. And one of the causes of that is that we are too few people, and then for the sake of finishing this, the root cause being we made too little revenue for the amount of work we have, and therefore we're stuck. We can't hire more people to fix this, and we don't really have the capacity to solve the automation problems that we had in order to solve that path. So now we sort of laid out a clear situation, or we paint the picture of our situation in a very logical and clear way. And now from here, we can take this into that transition tree where we would solve, we take it to the evaporating cloud where we solve the conflict we're finding ourselves in. and then we are working towards the problem. Let me quickly interrupt myself to ask you for this favor. Now, I'm committed to take the 19 years of experience I have from this and put it into these videos to share with you as much as I know about organizing events, running dance schools, building teams, running communities, so that you can do an even better job making all of that happening for you. And what could really help me is if you do all this social media magic stuff, subscribe, like, comment, share with somebody that you think could benefit from these videos. You can choose your favorite video or the whole playlist or the organizer's checklist. Anything that spreads the message and the channel will help me tremendously. All right, much appreciated. Back to the video. That for another video. Here, what I want to do is to just give you the different connectors that you might want to use as you implement this for yourself. So you have what's called a basic cost sufficiency connector. Basically, this means 2 or more causes are required in concert to produce the effect. Removal of any one eliminates the effect. So I can remove this and neither of those happens because they need to both happen in order for the effect to happen. Magnitudinal cause is basically 2 or more causes independently produce some degree of the effect. Together, they increase the total impact. Remove of any one eliminates some but not all of the effect. We have basic additional cause. 2 or more causes can produce the effect independently. Both must be removed to eliminate the effect. Then we have or clauses. So basic exclusive or. 2 or more causes independently produce the effect. If one exists, the other one will not. Or one cause produces 2 possible effects. If one occurs, the other one will not. Okay? Finally, just a little bit of advice around this. So you have the undesirable effects and you have the causes. And basically, you want to make sure each statement is very clear and each statement is a standalone statement. It's very easily done that we bundle a lot of things into one thing. And you basically want to work yourself down to root cause where there's no other things below it. And you want to also highlight if something is coming from outside of your control. If something is not in your control, you want to clearly mark that so that you are not attempting to influence something that you have no control over. That would be insanity. Yes, let me hop back up here. So I want to just finish up with this intermediate objective map where you're figuring out the goal that you have with your whole project. So you make a separate map for your goal. So in the case of Swing Step, we had the goal of building a Lindy Hop company. And for that, you want to make sure that there are some critical success factors that must be fulfilled for you to say, yes, this goal has happened. So one of those success factors was to have secure and satisfying jobs for the team members. This was one of the things I wanted to try to make a difference about. And basically, for the 15 something years that Swing Step was running as a whole team with multiple schools and so on, most people were hired full time, and that was the focus, that we should feel like we have a safe and secure job. It was a big challenge, but to some degree, we managed to solve a lot of the challenges until COVID hit. That changed the whole picture one more time. And the challenge is back again in different ways. So, but the other thing that was very important for us is to create a community where people could live the Lindy Hop swing dance culture as a lifestyle. They would feel part of the community. This was the main after work activity, for example, they were focused on. And then for me as the owner, or me and my wife as owners, it was important that we were also fulfilled and happy. And I think this was important to also, just as much as this is something that comes up in the topics and this one, I think it's also important that everybody is also clear what we need out of this project as well as the owners and creators. That often gets pushed aside, which I think is not a good idea. And then for these to happen, the last level is the necessary conditions that needs to happen. So for example, people are doing work they love, and they feel it's health promoting and not health destructing. For our customers, basically needs to be accessible, meaning not too difficult to join, not too hard in terms of financial challenges, but also in terms of making the dance too complex. High trust and high value. So they need to feel like this, whatever they're paying, they're getting much more back. For us, there's a level of enjoyment. We are dedicating a future to this, so long-term security, and also the values of the company that is still aligned with our values, as we are gonna live this for a very long time. So this was just how SwingStep was built in terms of goals, critical success factors, and necessary conditions. And for example, this undesirable effect was connected directly to this idea that work needs to be secure and satisfy. And basically, we were breaking these necessary conditions when these things couldn't happen. So that was important to always connect your undesirable effects to the actual goal that you're trying to achieve, and see where they find. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna leave you here. If you need help with any of this and you want to give it a stab and try to make yours happen, or if you want me to look at your current reality tree to see if there is any steps of logic missing, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to geek out with you on this topic, and I'll see you until the next one. All right, have a good one.